so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's live. It's done by Barflies, for Barflies, and all the other Bears fans out there. So yeah, I got some complications today, and I mean they're kids. It all stems from my fucking kids. Every complication, even though I love them. But either way, even that intro. I'm on my phone, and that intro, I'm like, it was like stopping and going. I'm like, yo, they're gonna start, and I'm just gonna be sitting there fucking staring off into space, and then I'm waiting for my part to end. But either way, we'll see how we do this thing, and then how well it does. We're gonna cover this the Seahawks game, and I was pretty impressed, I guess I could say. I mean, it was a good 3 phases of football. But we'll kick it around the room. We'll get to everybody, see what they got. Let's introduce the fellas first. Let's start off with look at KB down there. You looking like damn Doc Ock with them glasses and shit. Let's go down to KB, Mr. Ryan Kirkland Billings, the fireman. What up, dude? How you doing? Whoa, now you're sounding like Doc Ock too, motherfucker.
Robot KB in the building.
Get to the chopper. Dude, we can't hear you for real though. You're like Yeah. Nope, that ain't gonna work, KB. We can't hear a thing you're saying, bro. All right, so let's go ahead over to Mr. Jordan Silvera. We'll see how this one works. Hopefully this works out. Good morning, Jordan. How you doing, brother?
Good morning, fellas. Yeah, you can hear the Kermit the Frog voice. Still got my raspy voice, but good morning, fellas. Barflies, and sorry about KB living on the back of a submarine down there where we can't hear him. But yeah, excited to talk Bears with you guys, and thank you all for joining Barflies, and we'll get into it.
Hell yeah, of course. Let's go over to our man across the pond, Mr. Chris Watts. Chris, what's up, brother? How are you?
I'm really good, mate. How are you?
Struggling.
Doing really well. I feel like I brought down on straight away. I've already said 4 words. But no, good, mate. Yeah, I'm glad. I was impressed with the pre-season game. Loved it, and always good to be talking Bears football with boys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hopefully, me being on my phone isn't KB's issue. I don't know, man. That's just he was sounding fine in the pre, while we were all talking before we went live. Yeah, but whatever. I mean, maybe he's just drowned. And last but not least, we're going over to AC, the Kentucky kid, Aaron Current. AC, what up, man?
What's going on, fellas? Another beautiful day here in Kentucky. We had a little bit of a Christmas in the air when I woke up for work the other day, and I just remember going, smells like football season, baby. Let's go. I love it. KB, we had some technical difficulties coming in this morning, but hopefully my boys got it all straight.
Oh, I'm back, bitches.
Hey,
there it is.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And, Yeah, I mean, I recorded the game. I watched half of it. Scotty had a game that night, so I was like football that whole night, and we'll get into it, brother. We'll talk about some things.
Yep. It's kind of the same way for me, man. I had a mess night that Thursday night on base here, and then came back home and had to get another uniform ready for the next morning graduation. So I didn't really watch it all until yesterday morning. I watched the first drive, and then that was it. But it was all right. I mean, the first drive, obviously them playing the majority of the game, your second string and everybody else playing not just second string, but your subs and guys trying to fight, fighting for position. You're going to see more of them, which makes it look a lot better, right? They're going up against, I won't say lesser opponents, but they're also going up against guys who, have the potential to not be on a roster. So they always look a little better, but let's start with that, just the first string, man. Start with the first string. What did we see? What's your thoughts? I mean, we came down, we got a field goal, right? Things looked all right. I think there was some good development, having Komet out there, and doing that. I think you've seen some, a little bit of gelling there between the two of them. But let's kick this thing off with Jordan. Jordan, what'd you see on that first drive, offensively, and good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you got, man? What's up?
Yeah, I think, overall, like we were talking about, somebody, J-Rock put here, like the O-line needs to tighten up. Oh, we got to take a shot at us fellas and go, like, it's preseason. We're trying to figure it out. We're taping this shit together with toothpicks and bubble gum with Mike Prowse. But no, I'm just giving us a hard time. Thought it was a decent performance. Justin Fields looks okay. I would say pocket presence was a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
I'm going to sound like I'm sounding the alarm. I'm not trying to, but it does beg a question now. I think we've seen a couple games so far where he gets a little antsy. And it's not even a new thing in this preseason. You could see it sometimes in games last year. Pittsburgh even had a few where the pocket's okay and he just gets antsy. And some of that was at Ohio State. So I'm not saying it's some irreparable issue, but it does beg the question of, call this the so significant part of it, but is he seeing ghosts in a way? Does he feel like this offensive line has betrayed me in so much in the past when I went down 9 times in Cleveland and X amount of times and I've had my ribs cracked on it?
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable sitting here. I don't feel like this is a place where I can operate. And so for the most part, though, I still think he did okay, found his outlets. It's a little bit discouraging. You'd like to see the offense find the end zone beyond just a field goal. Still, I think that you've seen some good points and areas from the last 2 weeks. Week 1, saw that Mooney ball. That was excellent. Week 2, seeing Komet get used a lot. Yeah. For the Komet haters, I know there's quite a few Bears fans that are like, I don't know how Komet's going to play. Seems like he's going to be option number 2, maybe 1 in this offense. So good to see that. Teven Jenkins, who if everybody knows now after my little rant last week, I'm a big Teven Jenkins fan. I think that I'm happy to say sometimes you got to pat yourself on the back and go, hey, I think he'd be good at guard. And sure enough, he goes to guard. Yeah. But I think he looked good. Pass pro still somewhat of an issue. Reviewed that on Bare Necessities this week a little bit. But still, even when he was beaten pass pro, thought he did an excellent job recovering. So a lot of good things to glean from that first drive.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I know the comments there. I think it was J-Rock. I can't really see all the comments. Like I said, I'm on my phone. But I could see the ones AC put up. But otherwise, I'm doing this the whole time, and people watching are like, what the hell is this guy doing? Yeah, but I know he said the O-line needs to tighten up, but I'm pretty certain, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think granted, it was only, 10 plays or whatever, but they didn't give up any sacks. There were some pressures. They gave up 2 last week, I want to say, in KC. Or in Chicago against KC. And I don't think they didn't give up any sacks this time. So if there's something to build off of, there's that. And then I agree with you, Jordan, on Fields in the pocket. I think he's got to earn that trust back from them. You know what I mean? He has to start to trust in them. And the only way to do that is to not be sacked. I think we gave up the most sacks last season for an offensive line. As a group, we gave up the most sacks in the NFL as a group. And having a dude like Fields and not a dude like, Dalton, who just stood in the pocket and couldn't do anything. having a dude like Fields that can move and still giving up that amount of sacks is telling to the actual success of that offensive line and who they were and what they could do. So I think, yeah, he needs to he needs to build trust back with them. And, it's good to see at least a positive step in him not getting, schwacked and maybe those happy feet kind of slow down a little bit, and he stops, the pressure, because he's got to look and figure out the whole play. He's got to dissect the whole play, where the receivers are, who's in coverage, who's having that as another issue of, man, I don't even have any time to do this is worrisome. And of course the kid isn't going to be his best if they're just flying in at him the whole time. So AC, what'd you see from that first drive, the first offensive production, I guess we would say, and go from there?
The pressures worried me, and I put on Twitter that the starting O-line should have went at least another series, because those guys have to play together. They have to gel and build communication if that's going to be your starters. And I think they even talked about it on 670 The Score the next day. Like, Braxton Jones is a 5th-round rookie learning left tackle. Why is he getting pulled out of the game the same time Justin Fields is? We understand with Justin Fields, he's a first-round talent quarterback. You don't want to get this guy hurt because he's supposed to be your future.
Right.
But if you've got brand new guys learning this position, even Teven Jenkins for that matter, learning right guard, really, they need to have the reps in live action, because when you're in practice,
live action.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in practice, but you got to have those reps against somebody else. And I felt like the O-line should have spent more time in there. I love the way they used Komet. I didn't make the tweet, but I was thinking of making the tweet that remember when Nagy was here, they talked about how important the tight end was. Getsy is showing you what you do if the tight end is important to you, because he actually used him. He got Fields out of the pocket, which was another thing that we've been asking for since Mitch was here. So I love the scheme. I like what they're doing there. O-line is worrisome, in my opinion. They need the reps, and they're not getting the reps. Well, I mean, when you go in against San Francisco week 1, those dudes got to be ready. That is not a joke of a D-line. You know what I mean? They got some dudes on there.
Yeah, definitely a test. I agree, though. I mean, you would think that they'd leave those guys in for at least one more series, and then especially because not only for them to gel, but you're going up against not the starting defensive line, and maybe a little more confidence booster to, let these guys stay in for a round, go up against these guys, be able to talk it out and scheme. But yeah, I agree, man. I think even though they didn't give up a sack, they're moving, but there's still a lot more building that needs to be done with those dudes. And I see O'Donnell's quote, do you think the staff believes in Fields? I think they do. I think they're still in their feeling out process. I mean, there's not a lot time that they've had together, but I think right now that they believe in him. And I think it's up to Fields and where they build on to go from there. I mean, you basically got a brand new staff.
Yeah.
So I think what they've seen in camp and practice, they do.
so that I could speak on it a little bit.
Then I'll shut the fuck up. My bad. Go ahead.
You know what's though, man.
As soon as these guys were hired, Ryan Poles went on the radio. I can't remember if it was ESPN 1000 or The Score, and they straight up asked him, "Is Fields your guy?" And he said, "Yes, I believe Fields is the guy for the future." Yet every time I see any press conference, any video about the Bears, anything to do with the Bears, we have fans asking if this front office and coaching staff believes in Fields when they came out right away and said they believed in Fields. I don't understand the question is what I'm saying. Like, even Molly and Hall on 670 The Score, I think they said it last week. Do we even know if these guys believe in Fields? They didn't draft this guy, but they came on the radio and said they did. I don't understand the. Go ahead, KB.
But no, man, I just wanted to say real quick, bro, because this harkens back to what I said when I mentioned the Bears can't have good things, right? Whenever a talent comes to Chicago, it's hey, is this guy good enough to stay here? Oh, he should go somewhere else. Oh, you should play somewhere else. And then they can prosper with that player, and then life is just fine. It has always been that way. We can have a Justin Fields where you have national media saying, "Oh, I wish the Jets would have drafted him over Josh Wilson." Is it Josh Wilson? I forget it. Zach Wilson. I be forgetting sometimes. He's relevant. But anyway, you have those guys saying, "Oh, I wish that he would have been drafted over Zach Wilson. He would have been great in New York, and he would have been great here." You even have some people saying, "Hey, I wish we would have took Justin Fields over Trey Lance in San Francisco." Like I said, it's just one of those things where it's literally a Chicago thing. It's, hey, they're in Chicago, so you have to ask these questions.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest team for me is down in Carolina. They're trading for Baker Mayfield, trying to fix the problem and everything else when they had Fields on the board and they chose J.C. Horn, I believe, out of South Carolina, which is fine. I mean, if you need a corner, it's fine to draft a corner, but you needed a quarterback too, you know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, Jordan or Chris, do you guys have any thoughts on this right here?
Let's let Chris go. I mean this sincerely. You may not want me to talk about this. I feel like I'm imposter syndrome. I'm like the guy that is saying like Fields should have gone higher. We should have him. So I should shut the fuck up and let Chris talk.
You're so kind, mate. You're so kind. Regarding Fields, I just think people just need to slow down a little bit. It's a second preseason game. It's like what Bobby was saying. It's a different regime. You know, everything's new, but the guy's got the talent. I mean, he's still sort of. I thought because he was getting quite a lot of pressure up the centre, that he was a bit happy feet. He never seemed to sort of set his feet and throw when he's in the pocket, but you could tell when he rolls out, he actually stopped and properly, turned his feet and followed through his motion. So, yeah, I mean, my thoughts echo a lot what you boys said, really. I mean, I thought the run blocking were good. I thought Khalil Mack got a few good runs, but I would have liked to see Fields play at least another drive. Because I'd like to see a bit more sort of continuity going on, really, with the starters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jordan.
Well, God, I promise I'm not trying to be negative here. And this is where I apologize if everybody wants. If you can flame me all in the chat if you'd like, and you as well, gentlemen. It's not that I don't think that Chicago can have nice things. I'm happy we have Justin Fields. I think it was a blessing he found his way to 11. I think Carolina, funny enough, I don't know if I put a tweet out. I don't know if you saw it, Aaron, but that's the franchise I always thought that should have ended up with Fields. If you consider just swapping J.C. Horn for Fields, they don't have to trade for Darnold, for Baker, for Corral, re-signing Cam, trading away Bridgewater for pennies on the dollar. It's just it was a mess. But in regards to the Bears, I think that Joe brings up a good point here. Now, it's going to sound like I'm telling you that Ryan Poles doesn't believe in Fields, the original question. I don't think it's as harsh as that. I just don't think that this regime has any incentive or reason to buy into him beyond prove it. Show me. I'm giving you as much as possible to evaluate.
Jordan, I completely disagree with you on that. I'm sorry, but not totally disagree with you, but I just think even though they didn't choose him as in the first round, he's still a first round talent. He's still a player of high worth. So I don't see it so black and white when it comes to like a new regime just because they didn't pick him in the draft. I think it's a bit more complicated than that.
Sure, I think that there's a lot of complications and context. I mean, the thing I'd fight back with is, and we don't have to totally agree here. I tend to believe that when Ian Rappaport or Mike Garafolo, I think that those guys vet their sources quite a few times. And when they're over here telling you that the second round pick who was traded up for and had quite a bit of investment for is on the trade block, I think it shows you that this regime is going to run it the way that they want to. Now, this is what I'm saying. And I see your faces, KB. It sounds like I'm saying.
Oh, hold on real quick, because this has nothing to do with that. It just says that Bleacher Report just put out that Soldier Field is going to replace the grass before the 49ers game. And it just made me laugh.
No. Good.
Go ahead.
No, the point, and I'll try to be quick about this because this is to Chris's point, it is very layered. It is a very complex, complicated issue. But to me, I think Joe brings up a good point here, so I'll go to step one to step two. Step one is that at the end of the day, Ryan Poles and this regime will always have in their back pocket that if Field doesn't work, this wasn't my guy, I should have a fair opportunity to select my guy. That doesn't mean that you don't believe in Justin Fields. That means that you give him a fair evaluation. But I am not incentivized to make sure that Justin Fields works. What I am incentivized is to build the team in my image. And if
I think they are. Yeah, but they are, Jordan. They are incentivized. It's their job on the line and them as coaches to use the personnel they've got.
Yeah. No, and to your point, Chris, that's where we're at is I don't think that they're like trying to see Justin Fields fail. Right. Just that I have to build the team the way I want. And then if Justin Fields fails, not my problem. If he succeeds, fine, good. We'll use him. We'll make it work. And that's part one of the part two, which is what Joe's saying. This is where I'm not going to throw roses at Ryan Poles' feet before we've seen results. And yes, it's going to sound like criticism. If it's criticism, I just want to say I'm questioning the process. Yeah. Because Chris, just one second here, Chris. Just the idea that Joe's saying, why aren't they protecting him? You've got a GM and an assistant GM that are former offensive linemen. We are 2-ish weeks away from the regular season, and we're still kind of finally starting to finalize what the offensive line should look like. And you've got offensive linemen that, they understand how valuable the lifeblood of an offensive line is. So we're going to go ahead and invest a bunch of day 3 picks in it. And even then, if you're really hitting on your picks, you still feel like you have to raise the basement by signing Riley Reif and Michael Schofield, because we've got to get this thing up. This is your specialty. And if you really care about Fields and you want him to succeed, why does the plan seem so, I guess you could say, shaky?
See, and my pushback to that would be, we seen at the beginning of the offseason, one of the big things that they were trying to go with, because we're not going to sit here and say that the Bears had tons of cap space to just throw at every top lineman that was on the market, because that definitely wasn't the case.
Sure.
But you see, we bring in a certain style of offensive linemen. Yeah, these guys are, they were backup type players on different teams, but play very well in starts when you get the Lucas Packages of the world. And then we have the drop ball of Ryan Bates, which I see a lot of people have forgot about. They actively pursued that man. He was supposed to be our starting right guard. You have Bates and Lucas, who are made from the same type of mold, big bruising linemen who don't take shit. And you put both of those guys together, the offensive line probably looks a lot more different, because you don't have that push that continues to happen up the middle. Yeah. But like I said, it is one of those things where you look at it, because we had 2 picks in the second round. You could have said, oh, well, we could have drafted somebody in the second round that we could have thrown on the line. But then that same breath, then we're sitting here saying, who the hell is going to play safety next to Eddie Jackson? And you have the nickel position now, which they're penciling Kyler Gordon in at this point, I guess, which is the third most important piece on the damn defense for Eberflus. So I get that point of why aren't you protecting him? We have to realize as fans, bro, Pace left this man bare in the cupboard to do next to anything on this damn team, which a lot of fans don't understand. We didn't have the cap space. We didn't have the draft picks. You remember, we went into this draft with 5 fucking picks, and this man turned 5 picks into 9, or however many picks
11.
I thought 11. He's working with what he's got. Yeah, we got 5th round pick, more than likely starting at left tackle. We have Teven Jenkins more than likely going to start at guard, and maybe Riley Reif or Bourne starting at right tackle. I mean, it is what it is at this point. It's not really much we can do. It's all going to be uncovered of next year in who's going to be available.
I mean, my biggest thing with this comment is they were trying to help him. When they went on the clock in the second round, there were 9 offensive linemen drafted before they even went on the clock. So were they going to grab the 10th best offensive lineman in theory, or the third or fourth best corner, and it's not even a question. Like, we needed help all over this team.
Yeah,
And
Pace put us in a bad way, man.
And if you don't have a corner and safety, which is what we used our picks on, then you got to score 50 a game, and we're just not built like the Buffalo Bills. So that's not going to happen either. So I feel like they did try to help him. The guy that everyone wanted was Teron Armstead. Teron Armstead was a third-round draft pick out of Arkansas Pine Bluff who never played an entire season. So if he would have brought him in, and then let's just knock on wood, Teron Armstead gets injured in game 3 and he's out for the year, well, then where are they at? You know what I'm saying? Then everyone's going to be like, what the hell, Poles? You brought this dude in and he's not working. But
but I definitely feel I hear what Jordan is saying, though, saying that it's not technically this regime's, you know what I'm saying, prerogative to be like, oh, we have to lift Fields up 1,000,000 times a day, trying to make him the franchise when we didn't draft you. Yes, we're going to do everything we can to make you succeed, but at the end of the day, we could say that we didn't draft you, so you weren't technically our guy. We just inherited you. So that part makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but
Chris, I know you want to talk, and I'm sorry, I just wanted to get my final point so I could just shut up about it. But anything, Chris, that you
Not at all, Jordan, because I'll be honest with you, I've completely forgotten about what we're just going to say. So you sort of helped me out, but yeah, it's just interesting. I always just think, it's just a bit of a back away. People go, well, it wasn't our pick, the coaches, we didn't pick him, and you got to think it's like with Jenkins, regardless of what has happened, he's still a round 2 quality player. So. Yeah, it's just I just find it an interesting subject. It's like it's like watching the West Ring or something. A bit of how the politics work behind the doors, if you know what I mean, at the power that be.
Yeah, I do feel like Jenkins is a better fit at guard, and I do. I mean, we've heard it on here a lot. I think
especially right now,
even Danny and them were like, when we drafted him, this dude's a guard to me. So. But we did have breaking news yesterday. I was chilling yesterday, and Roquan Smith, it came out that he was going to play under the current contract. I guess he took back what he said about wanting to be traded. I guess Ryan Poles said, this is my offer, you take it or leave it. And Roquan said, well, I'll just play this out and see how it goes into free agency. I don't know if they're playing starters this week or what, but what do you guys think about the Roquan Smith situation? I didn't expect it to turn out this way, but I'd like to get your all's perspective on everything.
I don't necessarily think that it was him taking back the trade request, because when he was talking, he said it was just denied. So maybe he would still be open to being traded. It's nice to see that he's saying, you know what, I'm just gonna bet on myself and play. But the man said some pretty scathing shit in the damn presser, bro. Like, to come in and just flat out say, yeah, it was distasteful. I feel like I'm at a certain point and they feel like I'm worth this. I'm not okay with that, but I'm gonna play because I'm a football player. Even when it came to the point of them asking about him possibly being franchise tag next year, he just flat out said, you know what, that's a nice payday for me.
I've got the presser on here. Do you guys think it'd be a better idea if we just played that and then talked about it after?
Go ahead, man.
Since KB brought it up there.
In case for some reason Barflies were out and didn't see it.
Yeah. Let's try that.
It was very distasteful, to say the least. Wasn't what I anticipated, nor did I like what I expected from the situation. But now I'm just shifting my focus to the season, and more so just focused on being the best teammate I can be to those guys in the locker room. It's my last year of my deal. And, hey, I'm just going to take it, run with it, bet on myself like I've always done. And the negotiations are over right now. I need to put myself and my body in the best possible situation to succeed. And I feel like with this time that I have, it'll be enough time for me to prepare myself for the season.
What prompted you to not only ask for a trade, but to put out the statement that you did.
Yeah, it was very emotional for me because normally I tend to not voice my opinion as much, but I thought it was time for me to do that. And there was a lot of different things going on out there, a lot of different speculating and like things of that nature. And I just wanted the fans to know and the great city of Chicago to know like what was really going on, since no one really knew. And no, I don't regret not having an agent throughout this process. I think that's just a bunch of excuses when people say that. Times are changing, and I feel like players want to be at the table to have full transparency, to know what's actually going on, what's being said, because, hey, a lot of people can say a lot of different things, and, hey, but when you know you're there yourself, you see it with your own eyes, you know for a fact.
Who's Saint Omni?
I have a team of advisors, and Saint, someone I know, I trust, and has my best interests at heart.
In your statement, you mentioned the possibility of ownership getting involved in these negotiations. Were you disappointed that they did not? Obviously, Poles is new here, but maybe you felt you would have some more loyalty from ownership. Were you disappointed that they didn't get involved?
Oh, wow, great question. But I would say my loyalty lies with the city of Chicago. You know, the loyal fans here, the guys in the locker room who I put blood, sweat, and tears on the line with each and every day, each and every week. So I'm more so focused on those guys and being the best guy I can be for those guys, because that's what matters at the end of the day, and that's what you have when this is all said and done. My full intention to play this season, and whatever happens, happens, you know, and whatever it is I have to go through this season, I'll do it chin up, chest out, sunsets, no regrets, baby.
So that was my first time seeing all that. I was out yesterday. We went to dinner and lunch and all this. We had a bunch of stuff going on. So I literally got the notification on my phone that Roquan's going to be back playing under this contract. That was my first time seeing his comments. I think his comments about not having an agent are ignorant. I think he needs someone in there. He talked about hearing what they feel when you're at the table. Well, sometimes you don't need to hear that stuff, because that's when feelings get hurt, and that's when you request trade.
Yeah, that's like what we said last week, where you don't being in there and being told like, we don't see him as a top tier. You know what I mean? That could just ruin somebody's career and their drive to succeed. Well, maybe it'll spark their drive up, but you know, you get guys who come in like, not Roquan, but say you got another guy and they're like, well, we feel like he's probably got a good 3 years left in him. You know, and the dude's like, wait a minute. Like, right. I honestly think NFL teams should never negotiate with a player. I think it should always be done through an agent. And honestly, I just think there's way too much burning of bridges that could happen when you negotiate with a player instead of negotiating with an agent. But that's where I sit on it. I mean, I get people probably got other feelings, and yeah, he thinks he should be at the table because he wants to know, well, I mean, how about you just hire somebody you trust? And if you don't trust the guy, fire his ass and go get somebody else. You know, but him saying there was a couple things there that he said that I thought were like key points, you know, and you know, he said negotiations are over, you know, and he's like, I'm just trying to play out my Isn't that why it's called a contract? Like, do you really have to hold out? I mean, it's called a contract for a reason. You go in, if you want more money, you already signed to a certain amount of time, a certain amount of deal. I get you can renegotiate, or that you can extend it or re-sign, but when it doesn't go your way, do you really come out with all these tweets and all this shit, or do you just chest out, chin up, and fucking sunshine and fucking continue? I mean, I don't know, man. For me, it's just different. But then again, I'm not a dude who's involved in multi-million-dollar contracts, so who the fuck knows?
Sunsets and no regrets, Bobby.
Yeah, sunsets and no regrets. Not even one. Not even a single regret.
I don't know about y'all, man, but I don't even like to go into a phone contract and be sitting there like, bro, I'm not finna read all this shit. Just tell me the key points, brother.
Yeah, no kidding. If I could hire an agent to do my phone and my cable and all those other contracts, that'd be great. But yeah, I mean, like you said, he'll be back. I don't know if we see him next week. I don't see why not. If he's saying that he's back and whatever, I don't see why we wouldn't. But who knows, man? We discussed last week a little bit too. He's gonna be the weak side linebacker in this offense, in this defense, and we'll see. maybe he did some of this for the talk, for the clout, because he's been shunned so much throughout the NFL and Pro Bowl and all this and all that, and now there are some eyes on him. So we'll see, and maybe he just opened the door for other teams when his contract is up to kind of get in a bidding war and see where he's at. All could possibly be good plays by him and smart moves. So I don't know. We'll go. Chris, you got anything on Roquan in the situation, or are we pushing forward on this one?
I mean, yeah. I agree a lot with that. He should have an agent, really. I mean, there's no way that I couldn't do that. You know, you could, like you say, you come off a practice field and you're all like hyped up, and you got to try and get your head around, you know, talking contracts and talking millions and millions of dollars. And how can it not get personal? So I mean, I think really he should get an agent at least, just so he's got that bit of a barrier, so it can take that bit of stress off him. But yeah, I mean, I hope he plays this week coming. I mean, he needs to practice, doesn't he? I mean, I know he's been at all the training, but he hasn't actually been doing, you know, any training on the pitch or anything. So yeah, I'm with what you said, boys. Really, just want to see how he is, and then get him in the next preseason game, and then hopefully. I mean, he's got to play. He's going to play hard, isn't it, this year coming, if it's like a bit of a prove-it year. So hopefully we'll get one last year if he does go out of him.
Yeah, and there's no saying that, you know, come week 10 or whatever, they can't just solidify it then. You know what I mean? When you got a guy who's in the last year of his contract, I get the player's intention of trying to get it redone before it's up, and and kind of the team having the leverage. But then again, if Roquan goes into the season and gets hurt, then the ball falls back into the Bears' court onto, you know, potentially what they can spend and whatever. But I mean, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, he's been a great player for the Bears. I love him on the team. Chicago's going to have the most money out of any team next year for cap space. They're number one in the league for cap space and money to spend next year.
$125 million, bro.
Yeah, so why they didn't just do it, I don't know, but who knows, man? That's not my it's not my little swim lane there. I don't know. So I was
gonna say, just to touch on it, it comes back to what Jordan said about Fields. I didn't sign you, I didn't draft you. Prove it. That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. So I had to grab a little charger thing and set it up. That's why I ducked out for a minute. So I don't know exactly what you guys hit, but did you guys touch on Jones on the special teams and returns at all yet, or no?
No, we touched on Fields, and then I went into the Roquan thing because it was kind of breaking news yesterday.
Yeah. All right, so something I wanted to bring up to you guys. Granted, the kid looks fucking great, right? I think he even was named top special team like returner in college football last year, or shared it or whatever. I think he looked great on it, but where we're at with this wide receiver core, you know, we'll start with you, AC. Where we're at with this wide receiver core, are you putting that kid out there on special teams to potentially risk, or are you just going risk versus reward? The juice is worth the squeeze. You know, let him get out there and do his thing and show it.
Every punt returner I've seen in this preseason, Velus is the best. So I'm running Velus. I mean, if he's going to end up being my slot guy as well, that's fine and dandy. I thought he was going to return that one for a touchdown. I know. Day, but 45, I don't know who 45 is. He was like running in front of him. He was like trying to get out the way. And he felt like he was like caged in, and I was like, go. But I'm running Velus on special teams. I feel like this regime and this front office is gonna, though they might limit his snaps offensively to, you know, I don't know, to keep him able to do punt returns and stuff. But I definitely think you just got to put the best guy out there, whether it's him or I think Ebner has some decent returns. But Velus is the guy I'm going with, and I mean, it would suck to see him get injured somehow. Knock on wood. But
so I was all
put the best dude out there.
Yeah, me personally, I was all excited for it. I like it. I like seeing his speed. I think his speed translates. I think he looks really good. You know, out there doing it. I think it's like we kind of been talking about other things, I think it's kind of like a confidence boost. You know what I mean? To get out there and do it. And you see after the big return, all the players, veterans, whatever, everybody on the sideline, smacking the kid on the helmet, giving him his props, you know, and his dabs and all that. And I think it's a great confidence boost for what he can build into. One of my buddies had texted me and they're like, why are they even in a preseason game? Why are they even messing with this kid and putting him out there where somebody who's trying to make a team, you know, comes down with the vengeance, or somebody who's just, or whatever. Because those guys, it's not like they're playing, you know, a Pro Bowl game where everybody's at half speed and you know, touched you down, dude. You know, like some of these dudes are trying to make a team, and they're coming out with you know, great vengeance and furious anger, you know, and they're getting after it. So I get his concerns, but I also, you know, and on the second part of that was when we got to talking about it was, some of the dudes on special teams are not going to be on this roster. So you're trusting a dude who might not be on your roster next year to block for a guy who you desperately are going to need in the two situations. I'm still kind of okay with it. You know, there's a fair catch for a reason, but either way, I get his issue, and I just want to know with everybody in the chat: do you run this kid on special teams with some second stringers or some, you know, camp champs or guys who are trying to make the team, or are you sitting him and letting somebody else get that shot? KB, over to you, man. What's your thoughts on Velus and the, you know, the explosion and whether or not you're running him on special teams throughout preseason?
I mean, it's the same talk on why you would start. I mean, put your starters out there. The kid's got to get reps against other people. He looked amazing with the ball in his hands.
Yeah,
He's fast as hell. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They had the moment where they talked about him and Tariq Woolen. Talking about some Velus said, "Hey, if I get in front of you, dog, ain't nobody catching me." And they're like, "Hey, man, that boy Tariq might be able to get you." I think the kid's electric. I seen a comment earlier where it was like, "Hey, we could have had Abraham Lucas over Velus." Yeah, we could have, but you know, Velus was drafted to be a Swiss Army knife. I don't think he was just drafted to be the, hey, you're going to be our third string wide receiver. The kid was drafted to do a bunch of things. So I'm okay with it. It would suck if he gets hurt, just like it'll suck if Teven Jenkins got hurt or Justin Fields got hurt. But I'm like you say, iron sharpens iron. You gotta get those reps in, man. You gotta be ready for the season.
Yeah, and that's kind of what my response was. I was like, well, anybody can get hurt. You know, I didn't break it down that much, but anybody can get hurt in preseason, and it's a matter of, you know, not if, but when. And people are gonna get hurt. You know, that people get hurt every game, but it's whether or not they show up on the injury report that matters. You know, and I guess, I mean, we can continue. We don't need to go around for everybody on this unless you guys want something. We'll just shoot over to Jordan first, and then over to Chris on any comments on Velus, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I mean, my big thing is I've said it back when he was drafted. I'll say it again, and this should hit home with AC as a guy that's a Kentucky fan. He's Lynn Bowden Jr. without all the maturity issues. And so as much as maybe we would have all preferred a receiver that understands how to play receiver and run a full route tree, it's not that. And whether you want that or not, it doesn't matter. It's what Ryan Poles wanted, selected a guy that's going to be a gadget player. He is going to be a return specialist that gets very specialized touches on offense. And this is a very opportunistic, I guess you would say, staff. When you look at it, they're trying to snap the ball on not false starts, but when somebody's encroaching just to try to get free shots. This is an opportunistic staff. So this is everything that they're trying to build towards. If we can hit on starting offensive linemen in day 3, boom. If we can get explosive plays from a third-round guy that's 25 years old, but he's faster than everybody, we'll take it. So I think that's what you're seeing here. Great. If he becomes Devin Hester in the return game, we're not complaining. We'll spend a third-round pick on that guy. If we can throw him 3 balls a game, here's a jet sweep, here's a screen, here's a little reverse, and he gets 60 all-purpose yards of that.
Yeah.
That's a good third-round pick in their eyes. So
yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Chris, over to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love him. Just loved watching the guy. Great speed, great vision, but I would play him though. I think he needs the reps. I think he needs to get to that sort of game speed rather than what they have in training. But I mean, he's just one of them players what you just want to get into space and get the ball to, so you can just use that speed and running mentality. So yeah, very excited for what he's going to bring to the game.
Yeah, me too, man. And I think the chat looks kind of split. I know from the ones AC put up here, some are saying get him his reps, his live bullet. Some are saying the same thing. He's a 3rd round pick. Screw it. You know what I mean? But I think the kid, all in all, I think everybody agrees the kid shows a mass amount of potential. You can't lie with the speed on the field. You know what I mean? That speed on the field 100% translates. Like KB said, good vision. On those returns, there's a couple. He made a couple moves and went, and all he did, like he ran into one of the special teams players who got caught in front of him and just didn't know which way was left or right.
We can see that potential right here. If you want me to roll
roll that beautiful beat footage.
Look at him. Go on.
Yeah,
go on.
there we go.
Let me right up the hole.
It finds the lane.
That was the fumble, but
hard,
it was the first snap in NFL stuff. So I think it's
Here we go. This one was good. There's a couple cuts.
Yeah.
And
then, right here, I was like, go.
Look at 45. 45 looks like he's running down the train tracks on Stand By Me. You know what I mean?
But you see here, Velus does something we haven't seen from a return man in a long time, man. He kind of tracked the ball backwards. And they say usually you see folks just letting their shit go over their head, man, or they sit back and they want to go for a fair catch right away. They say the kid wants to make plays, so that was pretty fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was good, man, and I've nothing but potential from the kid. I think all of us kind of want to see him at wide receiver, and kind of like even Jordan said, even if he's not solidified as a wide receiver, right? Give the kid a shot, throw him in there, put him in the slot, give him a little bubble screen, give him something, end around. Give him something where. Debo. Yeah, give him something where he's like on the either short side of the field, like in 1-on-1, and let him beat that guy or whatever, man. But yeah, you're right too, KB. He can get that deep ball. The problem is does field stay in the pocket long enough?
Oh no, I was saying they're gonna use him like Debo. That's my bad.
I thought you said deep ball.
He gonna do that too, but he's definitely gonna be used like Debo on this offense. I guarantee you'll see this kid lined up in the backfield a lot, or coming around on those sweeps. So.
Yeah, 100%, man. So, I mean, I guess we go from here and we just keep building. Let's move into these second stringers, or just the rest of the game, I guess we could say. Ebner, like you were saying, AC, a lot of good, potential there. There's some guys that are out there that are, turning heads. Let's start on the defensive side, I guess. We're finally seeing linemen put their hands up again, get their hands up while the quarterback's in the pocket. And we haven't seen, we were bitching about that almost every week on the show last year. Like, how hard is it for a dude to just put his damn hands up? I think that maybe obviously the coaching has changed, but maybe, the decision-making has changed. I think a lot before was a lot of bull rush, and maybe that was just due to, Mac and Hicks and everybody's mentality of being the bull and just bull rushing through and getting in there. And of course, Mac can bend around the corner and all that too. But I think I seen more hands up yesterday than I've seen in a long time. We'll get it over to our defensive line extraordinaire, Mr. Aaron Current. Blackson, I think it was Blackson who knocked the ball down, right? Yeah, go ahead, man. Talk about the defensive line and what you've seen from these guys. And I don't know why I called you an extraordinaire.
I was expecting you to go to Jordan when you teed it up like that. But
Jordan's our offensive line extraordinaire, I think. We seen his commitment and dedication to the offensive line last week. No, I'm just kidding. But
he's just the trench man, man.
Man.
I liked what I saw, and like I told you guys, I haven't that second half was late for me, bro. I had to get up for work, so I wasn't able to watch it. It's sitting up there on my DVR right now, so I didn't see a ton of Dominique Robinson or what he's did or what he didn't do. I do have some defensive highlights on here, so I might roll these, and then we could talk about it after. I know the biggest thing was the Angelo Blackson getting his hand up, and I was just hoping we pulled that ball in. But I'll roll these defensive highlights, and then I'll talk about them afterwards. And there's the bat right out of right out of the gate. They showed the bat down, and I mean, as you see
it's
caused the
nice
fourth
to
down.
see Angelo Blackson back in there. I think he was somebody, we kind of took for granted last year. It's one of those things like, oh, well, it's just Angelo Blackson. He was one of the shadow signings from the Pace the Pace era.
Right.
He just come in to be a backup, and the kid is showing flashes, which is nice.
What I'm noticing is the way this team swarms to the football. Like there was 2 plays there back to back where it seemed like the entire defense was around the football at the tackle, and that's how you're going to build up those. And this is Geno Smith. He trips and falls down. That was
Geno doing Geno shit.
Good job, D. Good job, D.
And when I was watching,
this one was good too.
They were building up Geno like they were like he's a 10-year vet. It's good to see him out there. Blah blah blah. And they were building him up like he was a former Pro Bowler or something. And
they did that with the whole Seattle team, bro. They talked about Seattle like they were just this up and coming team that is one piece away from winning the fucking Super Bowl. And I'm just sitting there like, bro, we're saying all this shit as the Bears are sloppily whooping their ass.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, Bobby. I thought Seattle looked terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It's like what KB was saying. I was thinking, I know I like to get high a bit, but are you guys watching the same fucking team as I am? Because they looked like terrible all the way through all the different phases of the game. There was nothing where they had like a standout moment for me through the game. So I kept thinking, because aren't these the Monday night commentators as well? They were going to be doing the Monday night games. Who were commentating on the Bears game.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And they were fucking terrible. Yeah. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah. So I think, honestly, though, Seattle, now, granted, I could give a shit about Seattle, but in Seattle's defense, right, they had like 16 of their starters weren't playing yesterday or Thursday. Their top wide receiving core basically got 3 plays, and we've seen that get all talked up. But they lost Russell Wilson. They lost Bobby Wagner. They're a team they don't know their fucking identity right now. They're just searching for it, right? The only thing the only benefit I thought about us getting out of going to Seattle would have been the communication on the line with the crowd noise, but the crowd wasn't even really there either. I mean, they were there for maybe the first 5-10 minutes, but then after that, it was just whatever.
Yeah, because we was whooping their damn ass after that.
Yeah, you take the wind out of the sails.
Let's beat this traffic home.
Yeah, exactly. And you've seen it change, but I mean, that's Seattle. I wouldn't call them. They're nothing great. And then again, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people that weren't playing too, but it's just a building game. It's preseason, and there's little things that we can take from preseason. We've seen guys come out and light it up in preseason, and then regular season shows up and they're nowhere to be found. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things. I think it's foundationally, for me, I look at foundation of the player during preseason. How do they do shit against everybody? And go from there. I think it's more of a looking at that point of it than us putting up fucking 27 points. Because honestly, we got a muff punt. I was more concerned that our starting offense against their half starting defense only put up 3 points. I get that we don't have players in 2, but I mean, with a team that's that broken, I was hoping Fields would come out and drive it down the field and just punch him right in the mouth right away. So I was more concerned about that. Jordan, what do you think about this game and what Seattle was as an opponent, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think this game, I was saying it earlier, and I said it tweeted out during the game, but this is just a loss for the players, for the coaches, for fans. It was just a sloppy game, not enjoyable to watch, hard to get much from when the Seattle offense looked like Matt Nagy took over the playbook and was trying to run it. And so everything was dysfunctional. You had false starts. You had, drop balls from receivers. You've got missed snaps because, you've got Drew Lock in there all week and then he gets COVID at the last second. So I don't think it was the best showing for Seattle. I think that they're a better team than a lot of Bears fans would probably assume based off of one preseason game. Also think John Schneider did a good job with that draft class, just didn't show up that night. In respect to the Bears, it's business as usual, which I think we should all appreciate. This is what we're talking about. If you want to hang your hat on one thing about this regime, It's just going to be functionality, professionalism, a certain level of just understanding how to do your job. There's not going to be senseless penalties. Everybody's going to be on point doing their thing. That's what you want to see. And it doesn't matter if it's first string, second string, third string. Good example. We're talking about the offense earlier. Justin Fields isn't taking sacks because he's keeping the offense on schedule. Trevor Siemian had a few times where he may have gotten sacked. I don't recall. Like I said, it was kind of a snooze fest to watch. But you sit there one time. Okay, that's what I'm saying. For the most part, you look at this team throughout the different waves of first team, second team, third team. They keep things on schedule. They try to not let up 65-yard passes. They try to keep the offense going, no stupid sacks or fumbles. That was the best part about it. And, I think that's – I mean, I guess the one last thing I'd add is that, Chris, I think you were saying that this was ESPN's first team. Their first team, I believe, is going to be Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Right.
This is like their second team. But regardless, I'm not going to mince any words. I think ESPN is the worst broadcast partner that the NFL has. This goes back to, this is when they were putting out Brian Greasy and Booger McFarland in his chair on Monday nights. And it's just it's not been good. And I don't know what's going on there, why they can't get it right. But just like I like to make this joke. My wife, who doesn't watch football at all, she sees me watching on the TV and she goes, "Why does it say MNF?" And I'm like, "Oh, because they're practicing for Monday Night Football."
My wife said that too. She was like, "It's Thursday."
Yeah, she's going. They couldn't have just. I understand they're practicing, but they couldn't have just put TNF just so that it looks a little more normal for fans. Everything's a smidge off with the broadcast, and I think last thing I'd say, Bobby, before I hand it up is, I don't know when this started, and I don't know who decided to be the ringleader, and everybody followed behind. But don't expect this to stop. This is the Bears right now, where they are the black sheep of the league. They haven't done enough. Yeah. They're going to be a top 5 pick. They're an embarrassment. They're not helping their quarterback, Darnell Mooney. They don't have a good receiver. Darnell Mooney, even after a 1,000-yard season, is a scrub. I don't know who started it, but the entire media has taken it and run with it. Look, the Bears are the new Texans. They're the new Jaguars. They're the new Lions. That's what the Bears are.
The one thing you couldn't tell me is after watching that damn game that the Bears are the worst team in the league, bro. That's all I had to say.
Yep.
There's no way in fucking hell you watched that game and said, "Oh, the Seahawks got 17 fucking penalties and the Bears have 2, and they are whooping their ass casually." But you think the Seahawks are a better team?
Yeah, I was just seeing J2K's comment. I seen that too, or I heard that too, where he's like, Josh Fields did well today. He's on the sidelines. Like, fuck, man.
They're over here calling Sean Coleman Charles Leno. And I get it. Charles Leno was there for a long time.
They called 72.
They called Desai polls.
This is your job. You have all week to prepare for this broadcast.
KB, was it? Yeah, was it the game that we were at where I was yelling at Booger floating in front of us in Soldier Field when we were in the second row?
Yeah.
Is that the game me and you were at?
Yeah.
So Booger
about him looking like fucking Professor X in the chair, bro.
Yeah, and I was like, Booger, get the fuck out of the way. And we're in the second row, and this dude's little floating fucking, thing is right in front of us, man. And it's Soldier Field. But he's just floating in front of us on his little cherry picker, talking shit or doing whatever. And we just all started yelling at him. And eventually they broke it down. They moved it down to the other side of the field, but the ball was still on our side of the field. So I think we were coming through his broadcast or I don't know, maybe, but we were all yelling at him, and it was great. We had a bunch of fans in front of us that were as belligerent as we were, and Booger got flung. So it worked out pretty well. But yeah, I think everybody agrees that. It's dog shit. The announcing, all of it. I can't stand Chris Collinsworth, and now this is dog shit too. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of the times where I'm basically just talking shit about the announcers and everybody doing the commentary during the games. But I don't know, man. I guess
Who do you like, Bobby? Bobby, who do you like? Who would you have as your sort of ultimate presenters?
I don't know. I don't really mind Romo when he's talking about most of it, right? I think Romo.
Don't you think Romo though gets? I like Romo, but don't you think like him and the guy does something, they just get a bit too pally and start talking like they're at fucking school or something? That's the
Yeah,
only
well,
thing that sort of annoys me about him.
yeah, and every time Romo is talking about football, I picture him in those Corona commercials where he's like, whatever, like with that sort of esque. And I don't know, man. But I like the way where he breaks down, and I think he came out hot, and he's like, oh, this is what you're going to see right now. And then majority of the time, Romo's spot on as to what's about to happen. And he just gives good insight to the game. Some of these other guys, I think, I don't know. Obviously, they're looking at a fucking team sheet from like 4 years ago that was probably still in the booth, calling people Leno and whatever. But I guess it is what it is, man.
I like when Greg Olson's on the call quite a bit,
And
when Brady finally retires, I'm gonna be looking to see what he looks like in the booth, because a lot of these quarterbacks, even after they're, like we saw with Peyton Manning, his arm talent wasn't there anymore, but his cerebralness, I guess you would say, was still there. So the way they can break down the game and almost predict what's going to happen next or what to watch for, it helps fans be more in tune with what's going on in the game. And I don't know if that's just me as a football nerd liking that, or if that's the common fan, but that's something we can bring up to the chat. You guys, put in there your all's favorite commentary teams and who you like together. And
who I
like the sideline. Yeah,
before he got in trouble, I would love to send Marshawn Lynch to come in and do commentary.
Put Marshawn Lynch and Snoop Dogg on the commentary. That'd be entertainment. That'd be entertainment.
Hey, he'd be like, hey, man. Hey, boss, you see how you ran the ball, boss? Yeah, brother. Yeah, cuz I see how he ran that ball. You see how he dropped back and hit that receiver on that slant.
Hey, I'd watch the shit out of that, honestly.
He'd have like a 3-pound bag of Skittles.
Right. They got Snoop commentating UFC fights. Just ask him to do football.
Facts. That's what I was getting from Snoop ass. Like, man, did you see him get knocked out, cuz? Oh my God.
Oh my God. Hey, let's get back to the one comment though, that KB was kind of touching on with underrated. And Darnell Mooney was specific. I don't think we have that little sideline interview, but Mooney was specifically asked on the sidelines, like, you guys are I don't know the exact words, but it was basically like, you guys aren't said to be that good this year. What do you think about that? Whatever. And he's like, oh, we like being the underdog. We like being the dark horse. He's like, I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. And honestly, as you watch this coaching staff and everything, kind of the players execute the game plan, and like Jordan was saying, minimal penalties and that. I mean, I think that it's a lot better than what I thought we were going to see. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's definitely a lot better than what I thought we were going to see coming in. And I think it's like, I know the players are, they're flocking around the ball. They're flying around the field. They're getting after it. And then everybody's having fun doing that shit. You know what I mean? You don't see any of these little tantrums, any of these little fits. You see guys like laughing and celebrating on the sidelines and whatever. And I think that's a big part of the game, man, to where there's no frustrations. And we could say yet with the coaching staff, right? But Fields last season, you'd see him come off. He'd talk to Nagy for a second. You see Nagy the year before or 2 years before grabbing fucking Mitch by the face mask or pointing at a tablet. And Mitch is like sitting there, mouth open, looking at it like, like, how did you want me to do that? Right. But I think, what do you guys think, man? Are your predictions after the first 2 games, we're halfway through the preseason, are you more on the, hey, this team's a lot better than I thought? Or are you like, we'll still wait and see. It's only preseason. KB, start with you, bro.
I'm going to go back to what I said during the first preseason game when we mentioned the coaching. It's different because we're seeing actual coaching, which is, like I said, it's crazy because it's been 10 fucking years of just a rotating door at the coaching position, period. But I don't know if anybody's ever seen the Colts play. You know what I'm saying? Just sat and kind of watch how they ran. But it's looking the same. We're par for the course. We're going to move the ball. We're going to try to keep moving the ball and do what we have to do. We might not score a shit ton of points, but the Colts have the stars in certain positions to do that. But it's well run. It's not a lot of penalties. Colts were one of the teams that was less penalized in the league. It's business as usual, and that's what we're starting to see with the Bears. So the fact that we can come on here and say, "Oh man, we handled the Seahawks and it was literally business as usual," it's because the coaching is there now. You can actually see it on all levels. It's not the bullshit that we're used to, the bad punting, the bad defensive plays where you seeing people looking at each other as fucking Cooper Kupp runs down the field wide open. It's literally, hey, this is your assignment. This is what we've been taught. Go do it. And they're going and doing it. So it's a coaching thing to me. You're seeing actual coaching take place in the Chicago Bears organization.
Yeah, I agree. We've said it for years, going back to the Fox era, the Nagy era, even the Trestman era. The way your team is a direct reflection of its head coach. And I love to see the lack of penalties. That's the lack of penalties, the hustle. We talk about the hits philosophy, hustle, intensity, all that. All these guys hustling to the ball it's beautiful to see. And we even saw a little bit of a scramble drill there on Thursday night. And they talked about, speaking of Mooney, they talked about how they didn't even really practice that under Nagy. They talked about it, but they didn't really practice it. This team, these coaches are teaching these players how to do it. They're not just saying it. You know what I mean? They walk the walk. They don't just talk the talk. And I'm loving what I'm seeing every time I'm out. I mean, the Cowboys had 17 penalties in their first preseason game, and we haven't had that in both games combined. So that helps you out right there. I mean, how many times did we see the Bears last year give up 100 yards in penalties and stuff? I mean, you're giving up a touchdown in penalties.
I wanted to say this because it was something I thought was kind of funny just listening to the broadcast. They were talking about how the Seahawks offense would take a step forward and take 2 steps back because of penalties. And then you just sit there and be like, bro, that was the Bears offense the past fucking few years. We'll have a big play, but hey, you get called back because it's a hold somewhere.
Delay a game after a timeout.
And it's just like, bro, you're not seeing that right now. And it's refreshing.
The one thing that I did want to see that I didn't see, and it was the lack of a challenge. The one play where, and they even went into delay a game, and I didn't know this until I listened to a post-game podcast. I think it was Hogan Johns or maybe CHGO, where they said once a delay a game is called, you can't challenge it. And I've got the play right here.
Especially helping in the return game. High snap. That was a problem from the beginning. Is that a catch? It is. Isaiah Coulter came up with that.
To give your
more time for the officials
up top to look at it again and see if it's worthy of throwing the red flag for a challenge.
I think he had control of it before the ball started to skid along the ground. He trapped it up against his right forearm.
So, to me, it looked like, I mean, you're in the preseason. Why not challenge? Why not try to challenge it? And they asked Eberflus about it after the game, and he said that they only got one look at it, which is weird considering you got to delay a game right after the play. So I feel like you should have had more time to look at it, and I don't know. I would have definitely challenged it. I thought it was a catch right off the bat. I mean, it started off terrible, high snap, defender in his face, and it almost looked like, I think that was Simeon in at that time. He was just trying to get rid of the ball, and Coulter
staying on schedule.
Yeah, and Coulter just did his best to make a play, make something out of nothing. But what do you guys think? What do y'all think?
Somebody else want to go because I like I said, I thought the play. I didn't know that the man fell back when he threw the ball because that was literally like, don't you know when like you play with your cousins or your brothers and shit when you flinch at them, they jump hard as shit. It looked like he jumped hard as shit. He fell back, and I was just like, oh man, he flung that. That didn't get anywhere. And then you see Isaiah Coulter getting up off the ground with the ball. I was like, yo, what the hell just happened? And so I had to watch it again. I said, wait, bro, he actually caught that shit.
Yeah, he got his forearm under it. I mean,
yeah, man, it was a hell of a play by Coulter. Like you said, I think Trevor Simeon was just trying to get the ball out, and he was just like, hey, general vicinity, I'm gonna throw this ball away. And it came with short, and Coulter was just like, hey, man, I'm gonna make a play on this. So
yeah.
I love to see it, but like Jordan said, it's like I said, par for the schedule, bro. It on schedule plays. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just feel watching the game and watching our coaching and stuff, it feels like the adults have entered the room a bit compared to how Nagy were doing it. And like, it just seems to be, everything seems to be more at a level, like a consistent level about how people are playing, the discipline, the lack of penalties are given away. So, and also as well, just how he comes over. I like how he comes over, the coach as well, in his presses. I think he comes over like he actually knows the game, and he ain't trying to like. With Nagy, it was all a little bit of bullshit coming out most of the time. So, and I've also just realised, KB, have you been wearing sunglasses all the show?
Man, listen.
He was going to ask you if you wanted the red pill or the blue pill.
Yeah, I was going to say, he looks like fucking Morpheus.
I'll just be saying, I'm sure KB's wearing sunglasses and it's inside.
Let me speak on this real quick because I had to pull him down. I have a headache. I drank a whole bottle of sake last night by myself. So I woke up this morning and I was like, bro, my head is fucking killing me. And then I was like, maybe if I eat something, things would be a little better, get a little caffeine. This shit's
so maybe we need to give you the red and the blue pill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just mess reality up. But yeah, man, slide him down real quick, man. It feels a lot better.
I just thought the cool bastard wearing sunglasses inside, man. I thought I'm going to do that next week and have a bit of a Jim McMahon headband on the summit.
Hey, that first game, we come out and it don't matter how the game looks. Everybody just be drunk on the pod and just have glasses on. Like,
hey, when AC gets drunk, he don't get on the pod. I ain't know. You already remember Cleveland, bro.
man.
But before we get off the Eberflus topic, I've got 3 clips here from his presser. I'm just going to play them back to back to back, and then we'll talk about them a little bit more. I love what Chris said about the adults have entered the room. That's a perfect quote. If I can get Aldo to pull that, that'd be fantastic because that's exactly what it feels like. We went from a college team or a high school team to a professional football team.
Can I just say this real quick? Apparently, David Moore was placed on IR, and we signed fullback Jake Bargis.
So they lost a wide receiver and signed a fullback. I feel like
3.
I feel like you would go back to a wide receiver
already.
Yeah, I don't.
They may not like Jake Tongas as the backup fullback.
I don't know why he's been playing.
Is that the guy we got from Carolina?
No, that's Blasingame. Kahari.
Right. Kari Blasingame came from Tennessee. And, David Moore is from Seattle, Chris. Was previously with the Packers, but he had most of his success in Seattle.
Yep.
Right.
So we'll hop into Eberflus pressers right here, and then we'll talk after. It's 3 different clips, so I'm gonna just play them, and then we'll talk.
One of the goals for us, coming out of our first performance from last week was we wanted to start a little bit better. We wanted to have a faster start as a group, and I thought we did that. We came out. Justin had a nice drive. We created a field goal there for us. And defense came out when their first 2 series had 2 3-and-outs, which was excellent. And then we ended up scoring another touchdown with our second offensive possession there. So that was good. And then in the third quarter, we came out. We had a nice defensive stop, created a short field, played complimentary football there, and then drove the ball down and scored another touchdown there to start the second half. So that was really one of our goals that we wanted to accomplish, and I think we got that done. Some really good plays in special teams. We had a couple of good explosive returns. Velus had a really nice punt return. Simba had a nice kick return. That was really good. And it's not just those guys. It's the guys that are blocking for them. The whole football team, the whole team that's out there did a nice job. And it's Hightower did a really good job of coaching those guys to do it the right way. So we're excited about that as well. I mean, you know, it's a small sample size. You know, we're talking about, 9 plays and a penalty, so 10 plays. You know, so I thought the operation was good. His preparation was great. He handled the offense the way we wanted him to. Had a nice drive and scored the field goal. You know, so I think it's progress. And again, I see more progress in practice sometimes, you know, where his footwork's getting better, his delivery when he feels pressure, how he slides in the pocket and delivers the ball, that's getting a lot better too. So he's improving every single day.
So that clip was about Fields. He didn't say his name, but I'm assuming by his by how he described it, you could guess that was Fields. And then I've got one more about calm communication from, I think it's Getsy, the offensive. I mean, I guess you'd say Williams too, because he's the defensive coordinator calling plays and stuff.
Yeah, that's been great. You know, our guys have been really good on the headset. You know, it's about having calm and clear communication on the headset. And I think when you have that, and it's got to be effective communication.
So his voice is always calm. That's the one thing I like.
And I think when you have that, and it's got to be effective communication. So who's talking to who and when, and we've had that the first 2 games. And I think the operation of that's been really good.
So I love that. I love that Aldo threw that little highlight of Nagy in there yelling, because just like Chris said, man, it's like the adults have entered the room. Everyone's calm and collected, staying on par, you know, staying on schedule, like Jordan said. We don't have people yelling and pointing fingers. Now it's preseason. So, I mean, when the bullets really start flying and stuff isn't going as well as you expect, then you'll really see this coaching staff get tested at that point. But for right now, it looks like a professionally ran organization. This is our play. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this. Okay, that worked. Okay. You know what I mean? Jordan, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, and I wanted to bring this up here because we were talking about fullbacks. Just this kind of goes to just the entire coaching staff. Nobody brought up a good point that Kari Bloss game could be injured. He had a wrist brace or a soft cast on during the broadcast, so maybe that's something about it. But in regards to just this staff, this regime, the communication. One, Aldo, you're a master at that. It was excellent. Just kind of throwing back. Chris did such a good job saying the adults are in the room. This part of this too is that one thing that I'm trying to remember who. Oh, Nate Tice was on Hogan Johns, and he was there at training camp. And the thing that you've heard, he's just the most recent one, but the guy that started this way back when was Eberflus saying, "I just believe in bringing teachers in." The whole idea is we're just going to teach and set the expectations and teach those expectations and hold people to a standard. And I think that that's continuously what you're seeing, which is why, you know, you don't have acrimony and frustration between staff. And you're right, AC, it is preseason, but this goes back to just the general idea here that some of it you got to take context. The defense better have no acrimony whatsoever. I mean, in some ways, yes, when you're family, you can bicker at each other, but they all know each other. Alan Williams, Dave Borgonzi, James Rowe, they're all from Indy, so there should be no issue there. And then as far as Luke Getsy, I mean, yes, I guess you don't have the continuity there. Janoko wasn't there with Getsy, but they're all some NFC North kind of guys, and then you've got Chris Morgan. They all understand the scheme. And so I think that Luke Getsy, to be fair, looks like a very positive candidate, looks like he's got his head on straight. And so I imagine that he's, I don't want to say pulling rank. That sounds like it's demeaning to Janoko and Morgan. But I think you see a situation there where you've got Getsy saying, look, I'm the leader here. I'm the captain. You follow my lead. And you don't see any discourse or issues there. And Eberflus is speaking.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jordan. And like something that we've always harped on, and we've failed at it for years. We just don't develop players. There's all these, this guy's a developmental guy, 6th round developmental guy. This guy's developmental guy. And we, I think, have really failed to do that. And like you were saying with the whole teaching aspect and that, I think you see it, man. I mean, when everybody's on the same page, no matter what first string, second string, third string, nothing really changes in the game. You know what I mean? So it shows that they're all kind of learning the same thing. They're all being, have the same core values, if you will, of how they want this defense or offense to run. And it's great to see. I mean, I think it's definitely a bright spot. And, the worst thing that could happen to us is Getsy gets a head coaching spot next year or something crazy happens, because we always seem to find a way when things start to build up. There's a piece that ends up leaving, and then we're back to where we started or whatever. So, but I like everything that they've come with, man. And I think that there's not a lot of clout, I would say, and not a lot of expectations this year from this coaching staff, right? You didn't hear all the same shit that you heard with Nagy in the past, like when we brought him in and they took him to dinner and they went back and flew, like all this other crazy random shit. It was just like, hey, this is who we got, whatever. The storylines are minimal, right? But the play on the field and all that has already shown to be pretty impressive. So I'm good. I like the coaching staff, man. I like everything when they stand on the podium. They're not just like reading out of a fucking thesaurus about, using this and that. And I gave them this leadership book and they're going to be fucking great. I tell you, you know what I mean? Like, just like the random.
You got to empty your cup, Bobby.
Yeah, like
your cup.
Yeah, but it's fluid. It's fluid though. Why would I empty it? It's fluid. Just
you're
the
not
words
asking about the whys.
Yeah,
it's the whys, man.
Yeah, Nagy always had another question for the reporters. Like they'd be like, "Oh, well, we seen this today. What did you see?" What you got to ask yourself is, you know what I mean?
Or say, did you guys watch the Colts game today?
Let me tell you, I didn't come here to run I didn't come here to run the I formation. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how to run the fucking ball. All right.
Yeah.
I know we got to run the ball.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that we're not seeing any of that. But then again, I mean, we're only two preseason games. There's only one left. We got the Browns next week.
Yeah.
And then we're on to.
I hope Don's right about this.
What did he say?
He talks about the Lions coaching staff getting broken up.
He is so delusional. He is so delusional.
Hey,
I respect it.
If we can keep Getsy and he keeps working out, I'll take it. Go ahead and take
it's not
Glenn and Deuce Staley.
Deuce Staley can't even get the most out of DeAndre Swift, and you want to tell me he's coming out of the north? Like
it's just Don.
Please.
It's just Don.
We don't pay Don any attention.
Don sits over there.
We love him here, but
every day he just sits over there and does this. Don, I gotta give you one, man, because I hadn't seen you pop up in the show. Like I said, I don't have the chat, so fuck you, Don Burr.
Hey, hold on. He told one of the Terrans, not Whitfield, who's always in the chat, like has been here.
Yeah.
He told the other Terran, he was like, bro, you ain't even been with us shooting in the gym, dog. Like you just popped up, and I laughed in my head because I'm like, "Yo, he got a point, man. Don been here for a minute."
But he's on everything. Every Bears show I watch, Don Burr's
there.
Yo, Don's a burner for somebody, and that's already fact. That's already, we know he's a burner for somebody. There's no. Don actually won something in the past on this show when we were raffling stuff off, and he would not give his real name or any of that. Maybe I
told him if
go ahead.
The Lions pull the upset of all upsets and beat the Bears in that first game, that he has an open invitation to the AC show. He can come on here, he can break down his Lions, and he can talk about it. We'll see if he follows through, but
no, Don's a burner.
He won't do it, mate.
No,
he's a yellow belly.
Yeah,
he's yellow belly.
I was gonna say no. He's not a burner.
Dude, the Burr is fucking short for burner. It's Don's fucking burner account, man. What the hell are we talking about?
Hey, I'm telling you this. I was watching the damn Chicago Sports Now channel, and when they first started doing the call-ins, he actually called in. That's why I know
talk about Detroit.
It's a black dude. That's all I know. I heard his voice. I was like, don't you know that Leonardo DiCaprio meme that they got when they do this? That was me. I said, oh shit, he's black. So I know he's a real person.
Man, KB, you're easy. You got catfish like a motherfucker.
So he went back to that. KB went back to that Chappelle show skit where they're asking him about if OJ's if OJ was guilty, and he's just like, my blackness will not allow me to go there.
Yeah, he's got to be real because he sounds like a black dude. Look,
you're muted, KB.
Yeah, you're muted.
I plead the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, Whitfield's saying he did a live interview for
Yeah.
the 49ers.
I put this up because, I mean, if anybody wants to see Don, he's a coward to come out here because he knows we'll own his ass. But if you were looking to find Don was on a Grant Cohn show talking months before the first NFL game of the season last year, talking about the Lions were going to spank the shit out of the 49ers. And the 49ers put 40 points on the Lions, had Kittle get undressed, only for the Lions to come back against the third stringers. It was like another preseason game for the 49ers. And all of a sudden, the Lions come back, and it looks like a close game. He'll tell you, oh, no, we only lost by like 3 or 4 points. They hung 40 on that ass by the second quarter, and then you came back, Don.
Yeah, look at you guys, man. I didn't know any of that. I guess Don isn't a catfish. Sorry, Don. I still think you're fake.
I just wanted to come on the show. I wanted to come on our show. I think it would be entertaining.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Bring him in doing fucking Lions week.
What week do we play Detroit? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know.
All
Whatever.
Right. So
Don is coming on my show to make his case soon.
I don't know if this offense will drop 40 on them, but I got some plays here from our offense that did score, and I got the one pass that I love to see from Fields where, well, I'll just roll it and then we'll talk.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
So he's rolling out, which I love, and then boom, Komet, who we've been begging for years.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one play, but and Komet was fired up. I think he got up, and I think he was close enough to the mic on the sideline to pick him up. He was like, "Let's go!" And I was just like, "Hell yeah! I ain't supposed to be this fired up for preseason, but let's go."
You know what I've seen though, which is, I mean, I don't mind. I love the rollouts. Don't get me wrong, right? But rolling to his left, he always has to flip the hips, right, set the feet, and gun it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really seen him roll right. I think there was one in the first game, maybe because it's a minimal amount of plays. But you would think that it would be more comfortable. I don't know. Maybe it's not a thing. Maybe I'm just looking at it that way. But I think I seen him 3 times roll left on Thursday, and I hadn't really seen him roll right. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. I mean, maybe
does that
it's
come
just a
down
strong
to what
side
side of the O-line the coaching staff trusts more?
I don't know.
Braxton Jones and Whitehair over there, as opposed to Borum and Jenkins on the other side. I don't know.
Possibly, but it could also be down in distance and what just happens to be the strong side of the field at that time. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's really much to look into. It might not be, but you think, I don't know about the whole rollouts. We've seen that become a big topic a few years back with Mitch, and that he can't roll left and this and that, and I think Fields is definitely good to see. See him on the move and rolling. I thought you were actually going to play the touchdown to the tight end from Simeon, where he put that ball on the mark. I thought that was a great pass.
I got that
and
too.
just kind of leading him on a. Yeah. Go ahead, send it. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
He fights through contact and gets into the end zone. You love to see that. And this is, play action, which I think is going to be a big part of our offense. But I mean, it puts the ball right on the mark. Run it right up in the middle. We didn't see that. We saw 3rd and goal. With an empty
and once
shotgun.
you get
before is what I'm saying. Before we saw 3rd and goal and an empty set shotgun, and see
our
once
you get Monty
go through there.
Back too, I think that play action is going to pay dividends.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was something nice to see, because isn't that a play that we see that is consistently ran by Green Bay? And every time they get inside the 5, it's like, hey, roll out pass to the fucking fullback or the tight end that leaks out, and it's always a fucking touchdown. It's like it never fails. It's like an easy layup that Aaron Rodgers does in his sleep. So I thought it was refreshing to see. It was like, oh, we'll be doing that too, huh? Makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah.
It's the John Kuhn special. For those that
yes.
It's I mean, yeah. To your point, I know Bobby just was asking about do they ever roll right. We've seen him do it a couple times. The one that just immediately, for some reason, popped in my head is actually his first preseason game against the Dolphins. They had him roll out right once, where he was actually pointing at Riley Ridley, being like, "Hey, no, keep running, and then I'll duck it to you." It looked a little more comfortable. I mean, it's what Bobby's saying. He didn't have to sit there and replant, flip his hips. But I mean, the reality is, look, you can't. You got a problem if your quarterback can only do it one way. So it's good to see that he's able to do it his left. That's no problem. In regards to boy, and as it's 8 a.m, my brain just flipped off about what else we were going to talk about. But yeah, that's the rolling right.
Yeah, so I mean the biggest thing there was I love to see play action. I've said it for so long. You know, we've got these great running backs, and we never run any play action off of them. And finally, we saw it there for a touchdown, which is great. And even with your backups, you know, and that shows depth, that shows coaching, that shows, you know, and it actually Thursday caught me by surprise overall how much better coached we looked than the Seahawks, because if Pete Carroll's got one thing going for him, it's his sustainability. He's been in the league for a long time. He's coached a lot of really good teams, and they had more penalties than us. They had more false starts than us. They didn't look prepared for the game. Again, it's preseason. Maybe Pete Carroll just doesn't care, but I feel like you want to go into every game winning, regardless of preseason, regular season, or what. So. Chris, what do you think about those plays that we just saw there, or Justin Fields, or what he looked like, or rolling?
The reason why I haven't said anything is that every time, you know, when you play a video, for some reason I can't see it on my phone. So, like, when you're discussing all them plays, I'm sort of half trying to remember what.
So the first play, I was trying to break it down.
I like the ideas. I like the rollouts. I didn't see shit. But I mean, I think the team overall just looks more disciplined, but in a good way, and they just look more sort of uniformed and more sort of everybody's going in the same direction. So I mean, that's what I keep sort of feeling after the last two pre-season games. Really, there seems to be some order and some sort of a direction where everybody seems to be pulling in the right way and doing it in a proper manner.
Yeah, I agree. You can't win a tug of war battle with your leadership pulling in different directions. They definitely all seem to be on the same page.
I was going to say to Chris's point there, and I mean, Nomad brought up this earlier. He was saying what stands out is just the total team buy-in. I think that's spot on when you talk about just what you're seeing. And I mean, it's just the hits principle. Everybody talks about it. And he's got another one. And I'll say it's called like Mouse, where it's like Motivate or something like that. But just the general idea too is what you're seeing on, and it permeates throughout first team all the way to the back of the rosters. It's every little spot. Yeah, you've got guys like Isaiah Coulter and Tajay Sharp stretching out for what feel like impossible catches. You see Mooney pulling down one-handers in the Family Fest. You see every time. I mean, look at the film. Offensive linemen are pulling up the running back, pulling up their quarterback when they're on the ground. I'm seeing Kyler Gordon run in there trying to throw punches at the ball. The defense is always around a fumble. I mean, you saw it permeate when a muffed punt and Elijah Hicks recovers it. Sanborn's at the bottom of the pile in week 1 for the fumble recovery. It's just constant where you see just the little pieces of that, kind of that, as we've talked about, that baseline, that foundation, that expectation that this is what it is to be a Chicago Bear if you want to play with this regime. And I'm not sure how much that's, I mean, to Bobby's point earlier of like, what does that mean this year for the Bears? I don't know. To be quite frank with you, I don't think it's going to be probably as successful as a lot of Bears fans assume. I'm not on the train if they're going to be a top 3 pick. But what's clear is they're setting this ground, this foundation. And if you're going to be here, you have to be here or above, nothing below. And they're going to be very picky about who comes in, because I don't think you can bring – I mean, there was a rumor like Odell Beckham's coming, and we'll see. But the whole idea is I don't think you get to bring in stars that think that they can come in and do what they want you almost have to bring in these guys like a Lucas Patrick or a Ryan Bates, where you're trying to make a name for yourself. You'll buy into our cause and our belief and our creeds. And then what we're hoping, and this is where I think give Ryan Poles credit, if he gets a full draft class to do it his way, if you can't buy your guys in because they don't fit that scheme, no problem with that way of life, then you draft guys and bring them up within it. And you're hoping to bring some of that talent up. So I say that to say I don't know what the Bears have this year with that foundation of expectations and the talent that they have on the roster. But if this is what you're seeing with lesser talent guys, what happens when all of a sudden you've got guys either developing through that teaching, or you're drafting legitimate talent and watching it flourish from the start to where they end up in their development from the very early stages of what this looks like under the HITS principle. It's encouraging in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's more crap talking from Don.
I mean, can we touch on one of them? I laugh because he's sitting there going like every team. I know you're good. Because every team is doing that right now. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Don. Every team is not Tim Boyle, but David Blow, who's dropping a snap to lose your team the game against the Falcons. You're right. Every single team has dysfunction where they have the coach yelling and screaming at the starting running back that you need. I'm pulling your ass out of a preseason game and I'm putting your backup in because you don't know how to hit the hole correctly. You're right, Don. Every single team has their shit together like the Bears. Like, God
and didn't Detroit do the Detroit thing and lose a game to the Falcons?
Yes, because their backup quarterback dropped a snap. Like the stuff that we're talking about, the Bears haven't had that issue with.
Mm-hmm.
But every team is that way, guys. You are clueless, Don. Like, please.
Well, I mean, it's not just Don though. I listen to the Draft Dudes podcast. They've bought in on the Lions. I listen to like Locked On NFL. Everyone's buying into the Lions. That's the hot name this year, and I just until I see it, man, it's hard for me to like. How many times have we seen the Lions have a good draft class? The Lions have the right coach in place now. The Lions are building this correctly, and then it all falls apart. I mean, I just continue to go back to they had two of the best players ever quit in the prime of their career because they didn't want to play in Detroit.
Didn't y'all quarterback leave and go win a Super Bowl as soon as he won? What does that tell you? Like, bro, I had to leave Detroit because I was done with y'all shit, and I immediately go to a team and win a Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying, bro.
And then it comes out with a commercial. Then it came out with a commercial about it. That commercial was hilarious, dude.
That was so good. Yeah,
that commercial was so. Wait, even if I left, they're still gonna love me. Like that whole thing. That commercial was hilarious, dude. I love it.
Until Detroit win a Super Bowl, y'all can't even get inside the club, dog. Just sit outside and chill, dog. Like I don't care how long ago we won one, bro. At least we've been in one in the past century. God damn it. Yeah. Where have y'all been?
Hey, so let's get off of Don Burr real quick. What are your guys' expectations for this Cleveland game? Do you see it being more starters, less starters? Do you see like I kind of wanted I wanted to see the starters. I wanted to see the starters play at least the whole first quarter against Seattle. Seeing that we're running into basically now the last preseason game where normally everybody sits and you figure out your your roster and all that. Everybody gets their last shot. But with the this being the final one, do you see the starters playing throughout the first? Do you still see it just being 10 plays? Jordan, we'll start with you, man. What do you think? Do you think we need to see it or just leave the line? Totally up to you, man. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, if it was, I don't know. We're going to have to see. We're not Eberflus, but if it was up to me, I would love to see all the starters for at least a quarter, but honestly, give me closer to a whole half. And I know that sounds wild, but you've seen it two ways. And just to go back a little bit, back when the preseason was 4 games, the third game was the full, hey, starters play the most amount of time. Fourth game was the game of this is your last chance, rookies, to show what you have because we have to make our final cuts. You've shortened that a game now, and you've seen teams approach it in 2 different ways. Either your second game is your starters playing a lot of time. The Chiefs were playing that way yesterday. Patrick Mahomes is out there a long time, so was Carson Wentz. Other teams like the Bears have said, nope, second game, Fields is going to play 10 plays. That leads me to think that that third game is the time where, listen, I mean, you hear Luke Getsy talking about the thing that's going to help Justin the most is getting reps. And we need to continue to see what Teven looks like at guard. And Larry's doing a good job, and we need to see it. So it, to me, doesn't seem like it would be a cohesive plan to sit there and say you're going to play Fields for 6 to 10 plays and then go into week 3 and go, okay, we're going to do another 6 to 10 plays, knowing you have Nick Bosa, Samson Ebukam, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Fred Warner coming in 2 weeks, and you don't know what that offensive line looks like or getting a full comprehensive look at real issues with what that offense looks like.
Yeah, I'm with Jordan here. I'd love to see the starters play a quarter or even a half. I know, just like he said, we used to have an extra game where we could see the development or lack thereof of the bottom of the roster, and we don't have that anymore. But we've got to see, just like I said at the start of the show, we've got to see the starting offensive line unit together for a longer period of time than 5 to 10 to 15 plays. Like, they haven't shown me that they're ready for the 49ers, and they may not, depending on what Cleveland throws out there. I mean, I know the Deshaun Watson news came down finally, and it's 11 games, and he's not playing in his preseason. So you're playing against who they got, Jacoby Brissett, and I think I saw Josh Rosen on their roster. I didn't even realize that guy was still in the league.
Josh Dobbs and Josh Rosen, 2 backups.
Okay, so I didn't know they had Dobbs even. I know he was in Pittsburgh, but that'll be – but I just really want to see the offensive line. I'd like to see more of Fields, especially the commit plays that we saw. I want to see that continue to develop. But it may come down to whatever Cleveland does. Like if Cleveland pulls their starters out and after a series or 2, maybe we'll pull ours at that point. But you would think they would have – and I don't think it's came out. Have they asked him? I know they asked him right after the game. Like directly after the game, they asked Eberflus, what's your plan next week for starters? And he's like, I don't know yet. Like we haven't even looked at the tape of that. And I was listening to 670 The Score, and they were like, how does he not know? I'm like, are you kidding me? He's in the post-game press conference from this game, and you are wondering why he doesn't know what his plan is for next week yet. Like, you can't have anything nice in Chicago. KB was right with that.
I would say,
man, definitely.
I was gonna say, man, one quarter would be nice. I honestly feel like maybe the half. I can care less if Cleveland pulls their starters. I have no loyalty to Cleveland anymore. Fuck them. So and fuck their old fucked up ass town too.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, man,
I was fucked up in that town. What are you talking about?
You definitely were. But as far as I'm concerned, man, we need the reps. I feel like they should get as much playing time as they're, you know what I'm saying, the coaching staff is willing to give. If that's till halftime, I would be perfectly fine with that. Because like you said, 49ers are coming to town, regardless of we're ready or not. That D line is going to be ready to go. So I would love to see us play and get as much practice as we can against that Cleveland D line, because they're just as formidable. I would love to see a touchdown out of the offense this go round. Shit, to be real, I wouldn't pull us out. I wouldn't pull the first team offense out until they fucking scored.
So that's kind of where I was on the lines of things. Like if you start off, right, say you start off with the intention of playing them a half, right? They come out in the first quarter, they put up 3 touchdowns, everything looks good, then sure, fucking pull them out. Throw your other guys out there. You know what I mean? But I would say to the players, I would say expect to play the first half and we'll see how it goes. And then go from there. I'd probably leave the line in like AC was saying earlier, pull out, most of the starters, or just slowly sub a player in, with whatever, a guy who you think might have a shot, throw him in with the starting team, and just plug and play instead of, everybody's off the field or everybody's on the field type deal. But if they come out and they're fucking, executing and everything is going great and you first 2 drives, you score touchdowns. I wouldn't be upset if they decided, all right, so I think we look good. That's good enough. Let's do this now. So, but I think to play devil's advocate, if you come out in the first quarter and you don't do shit, you don't move the damn ball, well then, yeah, like keep them out there and keep going.
Speedy here's like 3 touchdowns in a quarter.
I'll tell you what. That fate.
If the Bears' first team offense somehow manages to score 3 touchdowns in whatever time they're playing in the preseason, the next game, I don't know, man. Well, I'll buy you. I'll ship you some food. Whatever you want, like. Because that's happening now. That's the thing is, they couldn't put a ball in the end zone outside of a field goal for the last 2. I don't think they're going to find a way to put 3. But I mean, the point remains the same, and I'll let Chris go here. But that, just so everybody knows, that 49ers line. Please, if you're not familiar with it, go look it up. And they do not need time. They have the best defensive line coach in the league, in Chris Kasurek. They are going to eat the Bears' offensive line alive if they don't get their shit together. So it's critical they get that part figured out.
Oh, hey,
I agree
hey,
a lot.
Hold on, Chris. Let me say this real quick. Don, if we ask, what does that make y'all for finishing beneath us? The toilet?
Chris, go for it.
But yeah, really, it's just really reflects to what you guys said already. I mean, I'd just like to see Fields out there for a bit longer so he can get a bit more into a routine because he's on influence. And I think like the starting, like Jordan was saying, I think they should start solidifying. So I mean, I'd be quite happy if Fields plays until right into the second quarter, really.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. It'll probably come out. Probably, if I had to guess, Thursday or Friday, they'll talk about how many snaps the starters will get, depending on what they look like in practice. And
yeah,
I just really, I don't know, it doesn't count for anything, but I really want to see these guys get the reps. And just like Jordan talked about, Getsy said, Fields needs these in-game reps to learn to continue to build this offense. And he'll learn some on the practice field, but when you're seeing different defenses and you're seeing different players learning how to take advantage of their strengths or weaknesses, I think it makes a difference with the amount of – and if they only play starters, 10 snaps, and then we go into the 49ers game and get our asses kicked, they're going to point back to this preseason and say, well, they played 30 snaps the whole preseason. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like they need time in there.
Yeah, I think so too. And I just got one more thing real quick. 3 touchdowns. 3 of them. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just want to see him. Obviously, I think we all do. You got to see him more than 10 plays. You don't really the purpose of kind of preseason and getting everything together. I get it. Getsy doesn't want to throw the whole offense out there and throw the whole game plan and scheme out there and give San Francisco more to go off of. But I would just like to see him out there a little longer and get the thing firing. Get everybody out there together, and get that thing firing. But who knows, man? I don't know if we'll see it or not. Like you said, we'll know by the end of the week. You guys got anything else around the room, or you want to do some shout outs and fucking call this thing a thing?
I'm good. I'm ready for next week.
All right, cool. Well, let's push this thing over. Let's go over to Mr. Ryan Kirkland Billings and your shades. Gotta keep them in the shade. Any shout outs, any last words, any closing comments from you?
Man, let's see, man. We'll get the shout outs, man. Like I said, we always got to shout out to fans, man, because like I said, without y'all, we wouldn't even be here, man. We'd just be 5 idiots sitting here staring at each other on the screen.
We still
talking
are.
about some shit. But I was gonna say we still are.
We are.
Man, shout out to all y'all, man, because like I said, without y'all in the chat, man, we still would have fun, but so it makes it better when y'all here. Shout out to y'all, man, because getting up in the morning is hard, man. I know Jordan ass over there keeping the fall out. I know it was like 8 o'clock. He was on here at 5 in the morning and shit. I'd be like, man, listen, eat a dick. I'll be on eventually. But love y'all, man. Y'all know how it is, man. Y'all got to plug into the shows that we got across the network, man, because we always talking something, whether it be football, baseball, or basketball, hell, even movies. We TV shows, we do it all. You know what I'm saying? So plug into the network, man. Hit that like button. The like button helps the algorithm on YouTube. I'm gonna constantly say this now because, like I said, I see everybody doing it. So you know what I'm saying? Why not? But hit that like button, man. If you in here, it don't take nothing but a half a second, man. Just click a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? Or the thumbs down. You might be a Don Burr fan. Who knows? But we know he hits the like all the time.
Lucky for us, I don't think they have a thumbs down anymore.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Just hit something. It does wonders for us, man. And we want to be able to get out to other fans that want to see five idiots talk shit. So hey, that's all I got to say, man. Like I said, I love y'all boys, man. I love being out here with y'all, man. Thank you.
Hell yeah. Over to Mr. C Dub, Chris Watts. What you got, man? Any shout outs, closing comments, anything else?
Yeah, shout outs obviously to you guys for just fucking making it a pleasure to talk Bears football for a couple hours every week. I look forward to this. I look forward to the afternoons, man, through the week. Also, thank you to everybody in the chat. You know who you are. You're great. And yeah, it's just been another fantastic show with you guys, man. So yeah, I might AC rolling next week because it's another week close to the season opener.
Hell yeah. One more. Over to Mr. Jordan Silvera. What you got, man?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, of course. Everybody, I appreciate you all for hanging out. Barflies, even the trolls like Don Burr, you fellas, AAC, Chris, C-Dub, Ryan, KB, Bobby, I appreciate you all and allowing me to continue to do this, even though it's as early as hell in the morning in California. But I like talking Bears, and it's always a fun time. And chat, thanks for hanging out. As always, help the stats for the nerds, algorithms, thumbs up, subscribe, like, retweet, share, do all that fun stuff. It helps out and, helps us pay the bills and all of pay the bills for all the different work on NFL Plus and film cut-ups and everything like that. And lastly, J-Rock, who said last words, fuck Detroit. Don, last words, Detroit versus everybody because you guys are at the fucking bottom and everybody's above you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Jordan, I feel your pain, man. I did a whole season from Japan one year. I was hopping on this sucker at like fucking 2 a.m. And it was rough. And we greatly appreciate you joining, man. I know it's not you don't have to, and we appreciate the your input and everything along the way, man. Thanks. And Mr. Aaron Current AC, what you got?
Hey, first off, man, shout out to y'all for real. I mean, I love coming on here talking Bears football. You guys know I'm down here in Kentucky. There's not a ton of Bears fans. So whenever they find out I'm a Bears fan, of course, I got to tell them the whole backstory of everything. So I love hopping on here with you guys, and we have perspectives from all across the world. We got C-Dub across the pond. You got Jordan living out west, waking up at 5 a.m. to come on here and talk Bears with us. We got KB coming in from a fire and talking with us. And then my man Bobby Baum's back driving the bus this year. I mean, you popped in and out a couple of times. I tried to keep us rolling, and I hope I did a good job. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Even Don Burr. I mean, he gets probably, like I said, I see him in a lot of other Bears shows in the chat, and they usually just ignore him, but I can't just ignore him. I got to bring him up and talk about what he's talking about. I try to see a perspective. I mean, when you live in Detroit, I'm assuming that's tough enough as it is. So
yeah, he's stealing his neighbor's Wi-Fi just to be on the show.
I try to get the perspective of a different team's perspective.
I just personally just say fuck Don Burr, man. Fuck him. I can't be arsed.
Shout out to my son, his middle school team. They played the first game on Thursday, or the first official game. They had a scrimmage before that. He, as a sixth grader, he doesn't get a ton of playing time on his middle school team, but I told him, you just get out there, you learn, so next year the coach knows you, the playbook, you know what's expected of you, and you've got a leg up on anyone else coming in. And he always asks me if I talk about him on the show, so I definitely I gotta give him a shout out every week. I'm so proud of him. He's even doing practices with Dad in the backyard. I got a tackling dummy and a ladder and stuff. So we're working on stuff here at the house too. And
we're gonna need
couldn't be
we're gonna
more
need some
proud.
clips. We're gonna need some clips for next week to drop into the
Is he
show.
playing team?
Yeah.
What's that, Jordan?
Is he playing team, special teams at least?
No, they that's what I expected was that they would put him at least on special teams, but this team, the way their middle school team is set up, they don't cut anybody. Anybody who comes out, they let them play or they let them on the team. Of course, playing time is earned through practice and stuff. Yeah. So he hasn't earned that yet, but like I've told him, you just keep working your butt off and know what's going on and
AC Junior's taking a red shirt year.
yeah. Maybe.
He'll get there for sure.
But I'm out there at every game and checking them all out, and I'm so, like I said, I'm just super proud of him. So I got to give him a shout out for all his hard work and proud football dad, man. It's hard not to be.
Good, man. Good. I'll close this thing out. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out that little apology on these computers and the shit that I had. I moved over to my phone and then my phone died, so that's where I disappeared for a little while. So then I moved to these pieces and dropped the charger in. Whatever. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Really appreciate you guys, the insight, the just tuning in. And like AC was saying, we don't really ever ignore anybody in the chat. I don't care if you're saying something that we disagree with. It's an opinion and whatever, we'll talk about it. So yeah, we don't really ever ignore anybody in the chat. And just shout out to all you guys for being here, for doing this thing, to Mr. Gandia. And like KB was saying, check out all the other shows on the network. Fly through, give them all a thumbs up. Subscribe to the network, get your updates and all that. And, let us know if there's something you want to improve, something you want us to talk about, a different, maybe like a little side piece you want us to add to every show. Because normally during the season we do that. We'll add, certain things here and there and little segments of the show. So if there's something you want to see, let us know. It's good being back. Greatly appreciate all you guys who reached out throughout the week. I did log into Twitter a couple times, which I hadn't done in like months. So, and had a nice little responses and DMs in there from you guys. So greatly appreciate it. And, look forward to next week in Cleveland. Got our last preseason show, right? We'll see where that one goes. And then it's on to opening day, baby. And we'll get this Bears season started and silence the haters. And I think that's really it. We'll just go ahead and leave y'all with a big old bear down.
Bear down. I just messed up because
bear
I didn't
down.
have the outro ready.
Man,
Awesome.
Great.
Drop the ball. Man, come back, man.
Come on, XP. I know this is the AFC show, for fuck's sake.